For the first time in my entire life, I actually got lucky. Not really, but the point is, I got the new dungeon exotic, Hierarchy of Needs, in my third run. I've been messing around with it for a little while, and I think I've got a decent idea of what it's capable of. I also have the Catalyst, and I'm going to show you how well this thing can perform. If you're just here for the Catalyst and bow acquisition, the bow's an RNG drop from the final encounter of the new dungeon, Spire of the Watcher. 1 chance per week per character, and the drop rate can be improved by doing certain triumphs related to the dungeon. The Catalyst will drop on your first master clear of the dungeon after getting the bow as well. I had the bow on for my first clear, but I'm unsure if you need it to be equipped or not. The Catalyst grants increased draw speed upon landing a hit with a Seeker with the bow, or deploying a targeting ring. I'll explain what those are in a second. I'm unsure of the exact draw speed increase, but it feels identical to the old Archer's Gambit perk on Hush, the old Gambit Pinnacle bow. To start off, we're going to talk about the exotic perks. First up, for Guidance Ring, precision hits and final blows build up Guidance Ring energy, and once fully charged, hit fire to create a Guidance Ring. With the bow in your hand, you'll see a buff on the left side of your screen with boxes, like how Vex Mythoclast works. Precision hits will grant 1 stack, and a kill grants 1 stack, meaning a precision kill grants 2. Once at 6, you can fully draw the bow and hip fire to create a little ring about 2 meters in front of you in the direction you fire. This ring lasts for about 13 seconds and directly ties into the next perk. Apollonic Tangent says that firing an arrow through a guidance ring will release Seeking Projectiles, which deal improved damage based on the distance traveled. These 2 Seeking Projectiles will follow the main arrow that you fire and are mainly meant to take out grouped enemies. Their tracking isn't Tiku's level, so you're mainly going to want to use it for taking out enemies near the main enemy you're firing your arrow at. As for the damage over range part, it's a little bit tricky. The damage increases based on the distance that the Seekers travel after they leave the targeting ring, meaning you don't need to deploy the ring and run away to get maximum damage. These Seekers do have a damage cap, and it's not a super long distance, so a lot of bosses will be fine with this. Oh, and did I say bosses? Well, another perk of these Seekers is that they do pretty incredible damage for a primary. As you can see, at maximum range damage, these Seekers deal roughly the same amount of damage as a fully drawn precision damage arrow. This puts this thing in the running for one of the highest DPS primary weapons in the game. To start off with the calculations, for rate of fire, I fired as many fully drawn arrows as I could within the time of the Catalyst buff and divided shots by time. I came out to 1.33 shots per second. With this rate of fire, I was able to make this graph with data previously acquired from my Cloud Strike video. And as you can see, this thing still falls short of a linear fusion rifle with no perks, but it gets pretty close, being only 5% less damage, sitting at 39,756 DPS. Combined with the fact that this thing has some pretty good ad clear potential, it could be a great weapon to keep on you in raids or Grandmaster content as a backup DPS. Compared to another notable primary DPS weapon, Touch of Malice, it actually ranks higher, with Touch sitting at 35,849, assuming you have the Blight buff active 100% of the time. Compared to Outbreak, it does even better, since assuming Outbreak sits at fully ramped up Parasitism damage, it hits for only 3442 with nanites included. So overall, Hierarchy is pretty solid. Not only does it do better boss DPS than Touch of Malice and Outbreak, at least provided you have the range to keep its damage high, but it also requires much less effort to keep the buff rolling, since you automatically refresh the damage buff on just shooting bosses, and activating it only consists of firing a hipfire shot. And as for ad clear, it's not bad at all, but it's nothing to write home about. If you're looking for a good primary workhorse gun, Agres and Trinity Ghoul are still probably on top. Hierarchy is a really good backup DPS weapon, and is more than capable of being your workhorse weapon if you really need it to. If you like what I do, please like and sub, and I'll see you next time.